Hi Catherine, so take a look at these two pictures here now. On the left we can see your original posture. As I said, just a little bit too upright for me, and that was causing some issues for you to obviously reach the ground in the swing. And obviously as you went back, as well as the spine angle being a bit too upright, this would mean that your shoulders, when you twisted, would basically rotate what we call on too flat an angle. So you can see here the angle of your shoulders now pretty much sort of, I wouldn't say quite level to the horizon, but certainly very sort of stood up in this position. Now, the problem is when you get into this position, hitting the ground is going to be very difficult. Not only is your arm a little bit tucked into your body, because you've risen up here now, you've kind of shortened the length of the swing. So your brain kind of realises this, and here on the way back down comes a sort of dip to try to reach the goal point. You can see even then you dipped into the ball to try and reach it, you couldn't quite reach the ball, thus the arms then pulling into the body and then missing the golf ball on the inside. And again, even then you sort of set up into the golf ball, same sort of posture high again. Realising we missed the ball this time, as a compensation, now there's a really big dip to try to get into this golf ball. In this case, we did get down to the golf ball, but from a consistency standpoint, it's always going to be a very difficult way to play golf, basically relying on lots of compensations there. So what we're trying to do is get a little bit more lean over the golf ball, get your spine angle roughly towards a 90-degree angle there towards the shaft. Where you're on the right hand side now, I wouldn't go any more, so I don't think you've got to try and bend over more, because already felt a little bit strange. But what we're trying to do now is to rotate your shoulders on an angle around your spine that you've created at setup, and you can see here now a much better angle. It still does get a little bit more level than we want to. Ideally your both shoulders should be a bit more on that blue line, and I think at this position now we're probably a little bit more kind of on that line. So not too bad, certainly some things to work on there in the practice, but the idea now is trying to get your body to rotate around itself, kind of on that red angle or red line you've drawn across your torso, and get those arms a little bit higher. Then that's going to take away the need for you to drop into the golf ball from this position. What you're going to find now, even though you don't need to do it, your instincts are going to tell you to try and get power potentially and reach the ground, that you've got to drop. And obviously as you start dropping into the golf ball, you can see the arms now react and then get quite tucked up in this position. So your arms here at impact are almost, I guess, a 90-degree angle, and your spine angles drop down quite a bit, hence the reason why your follow through then gets quite tucked up and looks quite close with your hands there to your torso. So in summary, as I said, the idea is going to be practicing getting yourself over the ball with a bit more of a tilt with the spine angle, and then just practicing your shoulders rotating on that angle. If needs be, place that golf club across your shoulders as we showed you, sort of the grip end on that right shoulder, and then a lot of the club sticking out here of the left shoulder, so you can kind of see where that club is pointing. And you want to be pointing it to something that's roughly 1 yard away from the golf ball, following on that blue line. So you can just stand on that golf ball, take one stride following that blue line, put an object down, and then just practice getting your body to rotate on that angle. And once you start getting more familiar with that and hitting a few shots on the driving range where you start whacking the ground a little bit harder, hopefully in time now we're going to sort of reduce that need and that want to dip into the golf ball. As you did in the session in the sort of putting green room, just hitting that rubber tee there, just getting a contact and just getting some trust in your ability that you can reach the ground from this better position is going to be a good thing going forward. Because once you realise you can reach the ground, as I said, this dip into the ball is going to start going, because you're just going to realise if you do it, you're going to whack the ground way behind the golf ball, and it's not going to be ideal for the shot. So work on that posture, get yourself in a better position over the ball, practice that body rotation in the backswing, and I'm sure going forward then you'll find a lot more success in terms of consistency, that ball going a little bit further and a little bit straighter. So I hope that makes sense. Any questions, I say, give me a shout, and I'll see you soon. Cheers, Catherine.